Amazing Women Speak podcast, inspiring and motivating every Black woman to own, honor, and execute her amazing, individually and collectively, as it was established at birth.
Good evening, good people. I am Crystal Gunn, and welcome to another episode of Amazing Women Speak. And thank you again for joining us this snowy Sunday. And so while you're getting settled in for the show, do me a favor, hit the share button and share Amazing Women Speak so your friends and followers can get in on this really great conversation. So Amazing Women Speak is sponsored by the Amazing Woman Network, which was created to unite and empower Black women globally, focusing on our core pillars of owning our personal power, mind, body, and spirit, owning our financial power, and increasing our social involvement. Visit us on the web at Amazing Woman, WOMAN, network.com. I am super excited for this topic today because it will be a game changer for a lot of our listeners if you listen and then do the work, right? And so we live in this world where we chase success, money, and stability, believing that our outer wealth will bring us fulfillment. Understanding that you were conditioned to chase these things and understanding we have been led away from self, missing the fact that our mental, physical, and spiritual foundation directly impacts our outer success. So if your finances, relationships, or personal growth feel stuck, it may be because you're ignoring the foundation that sustains it all. And if you truly tap into this discussion today and allow yourself to feel how some statements are impacting you as you hear certain things, you will have some big aha moments. And you will also heal some parts of you that are keeping you stuck. So let's talk about why neglecting your inner well-being is costing you more than you realize, and how shifting your focus can unlock true abundance in every area of your life. Inner wealth, the key to everything you want, but you keep ignoring it. So Michelle, I'm super excited about having this conversation. So thank you for saying yes to Amazing Women Speak, coming on here, curating these conversations, and being as dope and amazing as you are.
Hello. How are you?
Marvelous.
Wonderful. An important conversation and a challenging one, because anytime we have to do that self-reflection work, it's tough. It's tough. And so I'm hoping our listeners come with, like you said, an open mind to hear and receive and sit in the discomfort to do that self-evaluation, to figure out the why and how to bridge the gap. We can't do that without an amazing guest to help guide this conversation, share her experiences, her learnings, and her advice. Catrice, come on in and introduce yourself.
Hello, ladies. It's an honor to be here again with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself for our listeners who are joining us for the first time.
Awesome. I'm Catrice Renee Goddard, and I'm a holistic wellness strategist, a racial healing facilitator, and a personal development coach and a naturopathic doctor. So I've been doing this work under many hats. I've been on this journey for like 16 years. There's some more certifications in there, but that's where I'm sitting today. I'm on fire about consciousness and the power of consciousness and its way of healing and helping to expand our lives. So it's an honor to share here, and I'm ready to dive in.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So to our listeners, whatever platform you are joining us from, tonight is the night to really get involved in the conversation. Drop your questions, your comments in the chat. We'd love to pull you in and make you a part of these conversations. Tonight is going to be a gift for you. So make sure you're listening in. You've got your pen and your paper. And like Crystal said, at the end of this, be ready to do the work. So I started show talking about how this is the fastest hour of your day. So we don't have time to do anything in shallow waters. And I'm really excited to preface that part of the conversation because in service today, that was the topic, launching deep. And so thinking about what's in the deep waters, what's in the shallow, and why we don't have time to play in shallow waters, especially now. And so, Catrice, as we open up this conversation, I want to ask, what is in the deep? And why is it so important to connect to what's out there, despite the discomfort and the fear that exists?
Oh, I love that. I love the word deep. What's in the deep is our liberation. Our liberation lives in the deep, in the within our consciousness. And what's so liberating about the internal journey or turning your focus inward and going deeper than the superficial, the surface of life and of ourselves, it gives you start to cultivate an aspect of yourself that cannot be affected by the world around you. When I say that inner wealth is about having values and expanding your consciousness and knowing yourself beyond the physical realm, beyond what you can accomplish and who you marry and how you look, your identities, that the hats that we wear every day, we become more empowered, right? When your values become internal, and you know who you are based on being more than just physical or accomplishments, then you have a different way of walking through the world. You're walking through with a God confidence, right? Can't nobody take this from me. I know who I am, right? And my values are based on what's within and not without, right? So that puts me off the hamster wheel and into a deep, solid knowing of thyself.
So sometimes you got to go slow to go fast. So I'm going to ask you to back up because a word that's being used readily right now is liberation.
Mm.
So break that down for us. What does it mean and why is it the gift that we forget to give ourselves and the freedom that comes with liberation?
Now, liberation is freedom, right? Which every human being is here to experience. Our freedom to be, right? We're human beings, not human doings. So that freedom to just exist. And within liberation, to be liberated, to be free, you have to free your mind, right? Because you can't control everything in the outer world. I can't control how you treat me. I can't control if I get the promotion or, you can fight in that world. You can advocate, you can respond, but the true freedom comes from how I'm viewing the situation, how I identify with myself, the self-value I place on myself. What is it based on? Is it based on getting a thing or looking a certain way or living in a certain zip code? Or is my values based on my heart, my character, how I feel, my relationships, how I engage with the world? So it's really powerful. Liberation is freedom. And to cultivate freedom, that has to start within the mind, within the consciousness. Free your mind, right? Remember the song, Free Your Mind? Free the rest will follow, right? So be ambitious, but free yourself from the ties that bind us, that says that everything we are and we need is on the outside.
So, right. So this is where the homework already begins. And freeing ourselves, right? Like I one of the shows we talked about us living in open air prisons, right? We are prisoning ourselves when freedom is above us and we just don't know how to reach for it. Liberation is our birthright. And as Black women, we've been denied, we've been told we aren't worthy and deserving of liberation and the gift that comes with it. So how do we begin to free ourselves? How do we begin to identify ourselves as captors, right? Like we know the world, right? Like it's holding us down. How do we begin to identify the things that we are imprisoning ourselves by?
Really simple. It's a simple answer, not a simple doing. But the answer is clear. You shift your values. This world oppresses through value systems, right? I often think about that when I look at different ethnic communities and the Black experience as being economically poor, of being descendants of enslaved people. So when I look at other communities, there's a deep trauma within our community.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also this piece of, because of what we have experienced, we feel more compelled to prove ourselves, to have. Where you look at other communities, like I'm in an Arabic community a lot. When I go to their grocery store, a meal, lentils, rice, soup, $7. But they have a pride knowing that simple eating, really what matters, the value is that family is at the table. And see,
Mm.
we were stripped of that. And so not only were we experiencing this oppression or in economic poverty, we were also in like a spiritual poverty, right? We didn't know how to what to value. We didn't no longer value community. Like these were the things that we did not have. And so a part of my work right now is like when we start to look at what really matters to us, it's not the new car, it's not the thing outside of us. You can be ambitious towards those, but when your value is just knowing who you are, being in a relationship with your family, with your community, right? Feeling healthy, eating well, having the resources and knowledge to do those things. When feeling good becomes a value, right? It changes things. But when you don't have that and all your value is placed outside of you, you start to burn out. You start to feel less than when you're not chosen or you don't get a position. But you have to know who you are no matter how this world is moving. You have to know your majesty no matter what. And that journey is within. You find you within. It's not out there. It won't come from being validated outside of yourself or from an institution, job, or person. So that's the key. That's
the simple complication, right? Like,
oh, I love that. Yeah,
of changing what we value, right? In a world that is fast paced as ours is, where social media has tricked us in believing that we should value things, not people, and least of all, not ourselves. Give up of self in order to obtain the things, right? And that's the measure. So really being able to do that eye work and shift values when social media is right here so loud, it's difficult, right? Like, so it's a simple complication. The answer is very simple.
Yeah.
Like you said, the do of it.
Yeah.
So I know we wanted to back up, and that was a simple and clear answer. But what happens if we don't? Yeah, I want to go there and then we can come back here so that people can, again, like I said before we started the show, I really want people to be able to get some true takeaways and feel those things. And so we're going to continue to give solutions. And I want you to take note, grab your pen, grab your paper, because this work and this thing that we're talking about today is so very important. What happens if we don't do?
Right, like the real fast answer, right? Like, so you talk about what's in shallow, what's in deep, right?
Yeah.
And so we keep saying simple, but that simple isn't in the shallow waters, right? Like, because it's the hamster wheel. If you keep doing it is the hamster wheel. Yeah. Catrice, take us deeper as to what that looks like.
Okay.
In responding to Crystal's question.
Okay. So we'll go to look like to the more practical application. What's coming up really fiercely as something that we can all see for ourselves. What happens if we do not do it? Then we become hungry ghosts, right? We become, you're trying to fill a hole that just can't be filled, right? You can't get enough money. You can't have enough purses. You can't have there's nothing that can feed the ache and the disconnection that you feel to yourself, the lack of self-love and more so self-knowledge. And what's so interesting about that, like you said, you want to go deep. When I look at like the white race, that is a archetype of hungry ghost energy, right? So we're going there, like this is where it's at, because it's there for us. It's there for us to see what it means to have everything in that world, right? To have economic power, to have resources, and to still be so hungry, right? It is what happened because the system, the supremacy system, believes that if I get all these things outside of here, then I'm good. But then you get the things, you're like, wait, I'm not good, because don't realize that the cultivation and the power that you want to experience comes from within you. You see? So that's where it is. It's like until and this is us as a society, so collectively, when we change our values from getting all these things and climbing this ladder, and it matters if I have a mortgage or 5 mortgages, it doesn't mean don't do them, but that cannot be what you value. That is not really wealth. That is economic power. That may be economic resources and other assets, but it is not wealth. It's actually often quite poor, right? It's a poor consciousness. It's a
Right.
hungry, lack energy. It's a war consciousness. It's competition. Is, am I better? Do I look better? Did you give me the same prize that you gave her? So people walking around like that, when we're like that in this society, we become a poor society. We become what I like, yeah, hungry ghosts is what it feels like. It's an energy. And now, right now, we're in a phase where we have this opportunity to start to heal that and shifting those values by what really matters to me. So this is the practical part, coming to like reckoning with yourself. What do I really care about? Am I conscious? Meaning, am I aware of where my money is going? Is it going towards things that I believe in? Am I eating foods and doing business with people that care about me, that care about the earth? Right? Aligning your actions every day with things that are growing things in the world so that you're in a regenerative cycle with earth, with the world, with community, with a society. And what we're doing when we start to live more consciously like that, we're moving from the I and we're moving into the we. So every time I make a purchase online, I'm feeding a family. Just being conscious of that shifts the way I am experiencing my life. When I eat a dinner, I'm not just eating because I'm hungry. I'm intentional about this thing, about what goes in, where I spent money, how it's going to affect my body, how will I look, how will I feel? Is this going to take my emotions up, down? Is this going to cause anxiety? So these things is what make me feel wealthy. Just having information and knowledge and having values that connect me to everyone around me. I want to live in a way that is honoring to the planet, honoring to other human beings. That's wealthy. And if you know people that has economic resources and all they care about is them and theirs, me and mine, you're not wealthy. You just have resources, right? And so we are in this really powerful, pivotal time right now. As you see things shifting, you get to see with your eye, like, is this what I want to keep feeding? Am I also aligned with the values of the administration? Is this what is regenerative for a society, right? And so this is really powerful, and just being more conscious and aware of how you honor yourself, what you're spending your money on, spending your time on. Be intentional about that thing, right? Be intentional about how you live and really ask yourself, what do I really value? What is that? Is it love? Is it relationships? And I encourage, I can't say this is the way, but if your values are things that does not exist and is vulnerable to the outside world, you will have pain in life, but you will not suffer your life. And we're not here to suffer. We will experience pain, but we suffer when we put all our power outside of us and say, I'm only good enough when I do that thing. You should know how to be happy with $13, $30,000, $300,000, and $3 million. Right? Because you're still the same you. I'm Catrice, no matter where the bank account falls, my gifts and the cultivation of my character does not move. And that is wealth.
So I don't know, Catrice, if you were sitting in the back of the church this morning, right? But the preacher talked about, right, like pain is a part of the journey. Mm-hmm. Suffering is optional. Suffering is not required. We choose to suffer by the choices we make when we experience the pain. And so
I just want to jump in right there, because you just said we choose to suffer. And when I look at what goes on with a lot of individuals, right? And we can see and know, think, believe, whatever, that they are suffering. But do they know that they are suffering? And I think where I'm going with that is, it goes back to that comfort zone. They're accustomed to living this certain kind of way, and where it truly may be suffering, they don't recognize it as suffering. It's what they know. So how does someone then start to move from? Because somebody is saying, well, I'm not suffering because I have ... right? again, the
Mhm.
things, right? Or,
Mhm.
but how do we start to move past this living in survival mode and not recognizing that we're living in survival mode, living in suffering mode and not recognizing that we're living in suffering mode, so that we actually get up and do something? I'm accustomed to the pain. I got a pain in my knee. Pain's been, you know what I mean? So now I'm just
Right.
accustomed to limping. How do we move past that?
Yeah, that's really real because I've had a lot of clients that thought that they were doing okay and just, I mean, simple tweaks like say in diet, they're like, I didn't know that I could feel this good.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I never, and that is something that, really woke me up to like, oh, I had a colleague say, I realized I was depressed. Like I didn't know that until she made some shifts with supplements and things like that. So that's really real. But I always say that the message is only for those who's ready to awaken to it. Not everybody is gonna wake up. And I think about my own awakening or starting to shift values and shift the way I live my life and be more intentional with it. I was glad that there were teachers and people sharing things that made me say, okay, what? Like, wait a minute, right? And so it was the pulse, like, that vibration kind of goes out and then the people who are ready will come in. But not everybody will. That's why it's not for everybody. I don't push things on people, but we want to teach and share the information, but some people will suffer this life and that will be all that they know. But there are a lot of people that are uncomfortable and they know there's another way. They may not know where to start. They may not have the words for it, but they're looking for, I want to listen a little more, or what are you eating, or where are you going? People start to ask questions. And so we're here to like bring that light and share that information with those ready. It's readiness.
And looking at your tribe, right? Like, so if you see someone in your circle that is suffering, right? Crystal, like using the physical is a really good example.
Yeah.
And you are limping and you get adjusted to limping as a core way of, and someone's not inviting you to try something different, right? To be around another human being that is silent in your suffering is not someone that you should keep around you very long. If you're one of those folks that Catrice talked about, right? Like you're curious, like but you don't know how. Spending time alone is another way that will begin to reveal yourself. And I really like, Catrice, like you said, I'm the same person with $3, 300, 3 million. And if you don't recognize that you can live with $3, you're suffering to stay at the 303 million because you're doing
right.
something that you don't even know that you're paying. So I would ask myself, could I? What would I look like with $3? And if you can't imagine yourself happy in that space, you are suffering.
Yeah.
And so it's part of doing that eye work that really becomes challenging, and recognizing the folks that are around you that are appreciating the 3 millions because they're reaping the benefits of your life at 3 million. You have to begin to question, are those the folks?
And those folks won't be around when you only have $3.
Yeah.
They absolutely will not be around.
Yeah. And this information I'm sharing, this is wisdom. This is lived experience, is having the experience of being around people with economic resources, lots of them, and coming to see like, oh, I'm a lot more content and joyful and clear and have a strong self-knowing than people who I thought were rich. And so I started to watch my language, like, who's really rich here? Who is dealing with the mental issues and, like who is really in this impoverished state, even though they are economically rich. And then I had experience of being around really wealthy people. And I was like, oh, this is wealth. This is deep abundance, inclusivity, connection with the self, the heart, honor for women. Like I was like, oh, wow, this is wealth. And this is a consciousness. And it doesn't matter where your economic standing is, you can cultivate that consciousness and live in that abundance. And the thing that really, this is a part of my life that I was in so much resistance to when I went from corporate to becoming an entrepreneur and went and was terminated. And I went through this whole year of being on welfare and unemployment. I found so much joy in that time of my life. And I remember praying and saying to God, I don't want to learn this lesson. I want my Land Rover. What is happening? And so, like, through that, I had a garden and I started eating, and I was eating better, and I had an apothecary and new friends, and we're cooking dinner together. And I was like blown into this new world where my values started to shift. And I was a magnet, like opportunities. I couldn't walk to the coffee shop with somebody saying, I want to put you on TV, or I want you. And I'm like, what is magnetizing people? Because I was experiencing joy and this self-love and this different value. It didn't matter if I didn't have, I didn't have to have the things. And in the beginning of that journey, before I moved to Los Angeles, it was circumstantially the scariest life had ever been for me. And that is where I found a deep fulfillment and so much joy. And I felt and looked amazing with an EBT card, eating organic food at Whole Foods, shopping happily. And I was like, oh, so it's the consciousness. I have information. I know how to take care of myself. My values are aligned. They are with regenerative practice. And I feel amazing, like amazing women, right? So that was the game changer for me. That's the testimony.
So someone's listening to this and they're thinking and they're feeling all of the things, all of this that you're saying, they're feeling all of the things. And they want something different.
Yeah.
Their tribe is who their tribe has been, and they can't have those conversations with the tribe. I love the fact that Michelle said, sitting by yourself. Isolation
so powerful.
is a powerful, powerful, powerful thing, right? It is where, I know for me, it's where I hear the most, right? It's where I hear and I get the downloads that come and all of that in isolation. But what's even more interesting, the more you isolate, the more you want to isolate, right? I mean, like, Crystal, you do need to go outside.
Sometimes.
But I think when you said before, understanding in going back and asking yourself, I know when I talk to clients on the financial side, right, that I always ask them, well, how is it that you want to live your life from this day forward? And the common answer, some variation is, I don't know. I never thought about it. And so we walk through this thing being continually conditioned, not clearing up the baggage that we all have that has been passed down. And step one is trying to figure out what that is. How do I want to live my life? What do I want out of life? How do I want to feel? Right? How do you get unstuck to move forward? They're there. They're thinking about it. They can't go to their friends. What do?
I love that too. And I love that isolation is in the conversation, because everything we're talking about right now is basically hacking the system, the social system, the indoctrination that we're born into. I think about when I was younger, like if I didn't want to go to a party or do what everybody else was doing, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Is there something wrong? So you become socialized. I got to like this thing. I got to want to go out. I got to want to date. I have to want to do, which was opposite of what that internal compass actually wanted. And, in retrospect, I see that. And so isolation is a holy thing. It is definitely, I think, more normal than not to have time with the self. Like, just think about how we're socialized not to ever be with ourselves, to do a new thing, to get online, just to keep going until you're so distracted or numb and overwhelmed that you never really move into a space where you are actually being the leader of your life. You're following trends or a pack, right, or a social order. So we want to hack that by taking that sacred time, even if that time isn't isolating for days. Like some of us might have, the access or privilege to do that. But just in the morning, one of my rituals is using that first 2 hours of my morning is my time, right? So that nobody else can come into this space. And sometimes it's delayed air and I listen to different chimes or healing music or motivational things feeding my mind. But it's my time to check in with myself, to journal, to listen, to wake up and then lay back down and like maybe even touch myself, just be very present instead of going out into the world and starting to be extroverted and give my energy. It's important to be grounded and be with thyself and be with God. So yeah. And when I think about it, when I said God, all that distraction and movement is a distraction from the inner voice. So even if you go to church, are you visiting God throughout the week? Like, or just when you need, like, being in a sacred, consecrated space is a part of the human experience. That's really what I want the message to be. Like, to really tune in, that should be normal. That should have been us in 5th grade and 8th grade. It's time to be quiet and be, not go play and then go eat and then go learn and then talk some more, right? And so so it's just like, and we wonder why we have road rage or we don't have capacity when people make errors, because no one's tuned in. No one has really come home to themselves, has listened, has connected with God, the divine, their source, whatever that may look like for them. So that first step is creating that ritual for yourself and honoring it. I have an event coming up and it's about being about the business of your mind, body, and spirit. Like, be about your business, which is you. You know what I'm saying? You are your business. And just really honor that. Yeah, be in reverence. Be non-negotiable about your me time, your isolation, and that listening time, so you can discover who you are and what really lights you up. And let that be how you live your life. Let that lead you and not this world. Right? We should be interdependent of this web we're in.
So earlier on, you said that we are human beings, not human doing. Mm-hmm. And we are conditioned to do, right? Go, and then go some more. So what's one thing I can do when I wake up in the morning to be a human being? What's one thing, right? Like if I'm a doer and I hit the ground. So we know, right, the most important application is prayer, right? To start each morning there, mm-hmm. right? What can I do after I've prayed that is actionable, that demonstrates that I'm trying to become more comfortable with being?
Mm-hmm. And the being. So it's interesting because we're like, what do we do?
Right.
In the being?
right. Yeah.
Yeah. It got us. We're just we're gonna do.
Different do.
Right. We're in body. We have bodies. We have to do the things. But yeah, that morning ritual, whatever it looks like that makes sense. Like even with prayer, that's still in a way like people are thinking or like they want to pray about something. Maybe I would say like listening, like quiet, learning to be. I have so many clients that do not like to just be still, be with their thoughts, afraid of what may come up. So that will actually be a practice to ask yourself, why do I feel like I need to go and put something in the washing machine right now? Right. I'm hungry. I need to call her back. I need to call Carol back right now. Right. Because you want to run, you want to do a thing. And it starts to like move that neural pathway that tells you to that grain we have, because the brain makes these roads in our brain when we do a habit or we have a pattern to get on the phone. You will find when you start to get quiet, like in a meditative space, that habit is going to come in to get the dopamine from looking and moving fast and seeing the likes and doing all those things. So it's really empowering. It's like bringing in your personal leadership to say, I'm going to go into devotion. I'm going to sit here and listen and be with me, and let whatever arises, have a journal, write down what is coming up for you. If that's the grocery list, if it's an idea, if it's something sad, if it's something joyous, write those things down, journal your life, journal your experience. And then the next thing is part of my practice is I always align myself with content. Like I'll listen to something that is inspiring me and reminding me of the bigger picture that is beyond the mundane of life. So that could be a podcast about, in the industry that I'm in, or somebody doing something inspiring, something they're creating. It can be philosophical, spiritual, daily worship, whatever that is. Always tune in at the start of the day. So you start to create an intention and a vibration for I'm walking through the day focused here. And that's important because like we said about the tribe, you may not have everybody on the same page as you. Right. So the least you could do in the morning is tune in to those people who are, right? So go on YouTube, find content that lights you up, like plant that seed. So, and over time, you start to become the thoughts and frequencies of what you're listening to. You will morph into that, right? So it's really powerful. And that to me is the start, and what started me off, and my mind and my perception of myself and life started to expand. And that was a gift, just to say, I thought life was just go to work, do the
Right.
thing, go home. I'm like, right. Now I'm at work and I'm like, I'm just so joyful. I'm creative. Like, you start to come alive by being intentional.
Yeah, making it non-negotiable. Nadine is resonating so hard in the chat with this conversation.
Hi, Nadine. She's one of my Facebook friends.
Really understanding the importance, right? Like it's non-negotiable. She's like, I'm at a half day about me, right?
Yes.
Like things that I've learned to love about my life. I do those things and no one gets to interfere with that, right? Like there's a growth to be able to get to that stage, right? Like, and she wraps it really talking about like after 50, if she realized it took like 3 to 4 hours to realize the benefits of isolation and really discovering the gift of who you are. And it really does. When folks need to pull back on that, it gives you something to pull from without tearing you down and leaving you void. There really is, it's necessary for us to spend that time and get comfortable with the discomfort of silence, of isolation. There's growing there, right? Like it takes darkness in order for something to grow. You cannot constantly have your soil overturned and think you're going to produce anything. It's required for those roots to take place. And Nadine, I really appreciate the things that you're lifting up in the chat, right? Like at the end of the day, content that lights you up, right? Like, so being true, being powerful, that self-love is really critical for us, and discovering how to discover to love yourself is really hard because you have to push against the narrative of the stories that we've been told. And some of them have been told to us out of the idea that we needed them to survive. And so we have to rewrite that story. And you can't do that with the noise of the world in your ear. Isolation is critical. So if you have to start 5 minutes a day and build to 10 minutes, don't cheat yourself out of trying this gift in order to discover what it is to really be wealthy.
To really be wealthy.
Find that they cannot take from you.
There's
no bankruptcy involved.
No. Yes. I love that.
That intentionality is so key, but that isolation is also key too. And so because we're conditioned to do, right? So the do is to do nothing. Right. The do is to sit here and be still. I had a conversation with a new client, and we have the conversations before we determine. For me, it's like discovery. Is this thing a fit? And she was going through all of the things and the issues and the problems and the this and the that. And I'm, always listening, but through it, she through this whole conversation, she talked about, the text messages that she got every day from the minister at church, from the self-help books that she has. And she writes in this journal, but when she goes back and reads the journal, she's in the same place that she's been all of these years, prior to, and she watches all of these YouTube videos and sees these things, and she can quote in the stuff that you should do and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you keep looking outside of yourself
Yeah.
for answers that are inside, right? That you're not tuning in because you're not turning in, right? And
Yes.
so going back to the title of the topic today, that inner wealth, the thing to everything you want, but you keep ignoring.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's
Why
within
do
us.
we keep ignoring those things and keep looking for this validation and the answers outside of ourselves?
Yes. I want to share something too around this work being difficult and feeling uncomfortable as it is, and also share that it is also very honoring. It's an honor for us to have the knowledge and awareness to care for ourselves and to be intentional with our lives. So anybody listening to this that is thinking, I'm going to start doing this, no, just look at this time you take for yourself as you are honoring yourself. You're taking your consciousness and your body back from the system, right? And you are actually living interdependent, right? Like we live here in this country on this earth, but we are also who we are. And so you have to do things and tune in so that you know which direction that you should be walking in for your unique path, right? Because we're not all the same. And so for me, as I've been on this journey for years now, but it's just such an honor. Like Nadine said, she got 3 or 4 hours a day. That's she in deep wealth. Like, you know what I'm saying, to do that. Right. And so it's so beautiful, but just to take time instead of and again, like even with clients, sometimes they would push me away because I was another thing to do. I'm like, no. I am you. This is your time to honor you. Don't check me off the list.
Right.
I represent you. This is your investment. I am just your mirror, right? And so that's just really powerful. And like you said, why do we ignore that within? And it really gets down to this really radical level of, again, indoctrination, where we've been taught that the authority is outside of us, that God is outside of us. God is well within us, right? Everything is within us. And this used to be back when Christ was on the earth. This was radical talk. This is how he spoke. Right? That it is all within, the Father is within you. And so you have to really start to retrain your brain that is the authority, the doctor, the teacher, the parents, some God out there, or is the authority within me? And to allow yourself to have authority over your life. That's really what this is. I always say this is personal leadership. When I say I don't want to eat at that restaurant, or I can't come to 9 because I have this sacred wake up time every morning, that's me being the authority over my life experience and not giving it away to anyone. And so building personal leadership without feeling like you are stepping on you shouldn't be stepping on anybody's toes, because who owns you, right? Liberation. You get to design your life and really move into a space where you become the authority and you are co-creating your experience with God. That's how it goes. You come in, you need to be active and put boundaries and create time and really align with what it is you say you want and who you want to be in this world. It's powerful. That's why I say it's a liberation journey, the most powerful liberation journey.
So in rewriting the story, to sit with yourself, right? Like, because of the stories that we have been told, and needing to change that narrative. When I sit still, my mind goes, right? And sometimes what's running through it isn't feeding me. Catrice, give us a couple of affirmations that if I wanted to, when I sit in silence, I need to disrupt the noise and the chaos that's keeping me from centering myself. What are a couple of affirmations that I can pull on to help me bring back to me.
So I don't do a lot with affirmations. I know a lot of people do. But what is coming?
You do them and don't know you're doing them.
Right. But,
like you have shared many of them.
I know people do them as practice, but one thing when there is a lot of noise, and especially if there's negative noise or you've had an experience, when those things are coming up, they are coming up to be loved. Maybe this could be like second level, but they are coming up for a reason. What I notice that if I allow what comes up to be, it dissipates. But if I start to resist it and want it gone, it starts to persist. So again, I have my clients and myself, I go to a journal and I would write that down. I'm like, I can allow you now. I can allow you now. And as I allow you, I accept you. I see you. I see you. Even if accept is hard. This is like emotional trauma work as well. I see you. And you can write that down or you can let it float and then start to move back into your meditation. You can even use like white light or any color that comes to you and start to bring that into your body. The sun, I work with the sun all the time. I love the solar sun. Bringing that energy in and imagine it washing your thoughts away. But when something comes up, you can say, I allow you. Don't resist it. And you'll notice that it dissipates. Anything we start to resist will start to become bigger and it will grow and grow. And then the second level of that is actually doing like a deeper level of work, because the negative things and our traumas and things that come up that are scary, they want to be transmuted. Those are things that we will go through a journey on actually starting to heal those things as you move through it. But when your mind is quiet and it just won't slow down, that's one practice. And then the second thing and resource that I share is subliminal meditations or things you can listen to that's actually working with your subconscious mind as well. You can find those online. So they're helping to like bring the ocean in and listen to things that starts to calm into you. So yeah.
And so those are the things I'm talking about. I really am the trauma work. We have to do that, right? Like I'm not saying ignore that. When I start to get to a quiet place, if what comes up is I don't have time for this, or I don't deserve this side, right? Like I need to be doing something else. What are the ways that we can disrupt those patterns? And you offered that like beautifully, really thinking about, and again, this is the homework piece. You've got to have something to pull on before you're in the crisis, right? Like build your toolbox now so that when you find these thoughts coming up, you recognize, right? Like there's a gift of the solar sun washing over my body.
Yes.
There's a gift if I slow down and do that, right? Like the sound of the ocean causing a disruption to thoughts that don't serve. Again, I'm not talking about the trauma. We've got to do that work. 100%. We absolutely have to do that work. The minute we go to silence, things will come into our mind that keep us from doing the thing that helps me identify that I am enough.
I am enough.
Right? Like I deserve to build this wealth above all else. So thank you for sharing those. Again, really wanting to give our listeners some practical things that they can pull on in the moment. And when you find yourself unable to do it on your own because of the things that you carry, you need a Catrice in your life. You need a Crystal in your life, right? Like women that are positioned to help you think about the things that you're going through and how to utilize those things to better serve you, the gift that you are, and then to be able to release yourself and discover the gifts that come with freedom. There's a part of this that you cannot do on your own. Every last one of us, because there's so much trauma that we have not unpacked. We continue to limp. And we get comfortable, right? Like we can turn that limp into a swag instead of recognizing, right? Like, So
absolutely,
we deserve what's on the other side of this personal wealth. And so I thank you for beginning to share some of those. We do have to slow down long enough to hear about the ways in which the many hats that you wear. and that you can offer services, the gifts that you bring into this world that help us really think about who we are and help us transform. So tell us about some of the hats and how folks can reach you.
Awesome.
If you have space for more.
Did our fast hour go already, Michelle?
Are we at that point? We are absolutely having to start to think about how do we land this.
Oh my God, let's talk about distractions and being busy and all that. So I'm a spiritual mentor and I do embodied leadership work. So I work with women creators, entrepreneurs, or anybody starting to awaken, all the way up to those that may be, let's say, like the third tier of awakening to really valuing and pouring into their personal development. All of my work starts with a foundation of wellness. So clean eating and herbal support, because diet is the key in everything that we do. If you're doing personal development and still eating foods that cause anxiety and depression and that distractive energy, you're kind of like, cleaning off a plate and then putting the mess right back on top of it. So that is also, wellness is a liberation tool. And then I do racial healing and racial liberation work too, where I'm training on transcendent social justice. And that work sits at the intersection of spirituality and anti-racism work. So we're asking the bigger questions there as well.
Yeah. We've got to have that conversation, Catrice. I keep saying that, right? Like, you got to have that social justice conversation for sure.
Yeah. How do people find you, Catrice?
Oh, at my website, CatriceGoddard.com. So, just as it's spelled on the screen without the R, you can find me there. It'd be an honor. Yeah.
For everyone that's listening, I just want to say you're worth it. Like we talked a lot today about a lot of stuff, and we probably could go on for another hour. But I think the biggest takeaway I want you to get is that you're worth it. Like you're worth the work. You're worth, and it's better on the other side. Lean into it. You're going to hear the voices in your... Michelle, I remember the very first My Mental Health is My Business Expo. And you spoke about the amount of negative thoughts that come into your mind per day. And it was like some staggering percentage. Like, what is that percentage? What that of negative thoughts that you get in your mind per day? Like, it blew me away when you said it.
Yeah, it's something like 89%, right? Like, because our brains are wired, we're naturally wired that way. It's that flight or fight response that triggers us to think about all of the negative things that could happen as a way of protecting ourselves.
And I think when those come up, because they're going to come up, right? Address them. Like, and you always say, name the thing. And Catrice, you talked about accepting it or hearing it, but also addressing it. Like, why is this thing coming up? Why is it something that I need to address? And what does it mean? What is it trying to tell me? And then do I need to... There's a reason that those things come up. It's part of your healing, and it's coming up for you to see it. So don't run away from it. And you said, embrace it, name the thing, but have like, what are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to show me? What am I supposed to learn from this? What is this? And have that conversation with yourself, have that conversation with God. What is the lesson here? So that it doesn't keep coming up, so that we can heal it. But understand that you're worth it. You're worth this liberation and this freedom, and the freedom that's on the other side of it. Oh my God, you will never go back, right? You will fight for it like crazy. And one small step, one thing turns into 5 things, turns into 20 things, turns into a freedom that you'll never give, that you'll absolutely never get back. Catrice, what does it mean to you to
own my amazing? This word, consciousness, prioritizing, honoring myself and my life experience. as a gift to myself and the world is me owning my amazing, especially as a Black woman, to be that wealthy that I create time for myself to reconstruct these patterns that I matter and that my internal development is valuable and must be prioritized. That is how I own my amazing.
Yeah. When you discover you matter as a Black woman,
Baby.
Baby.
watch out. The world needs to watch out.
Ooh. Wait, Nadine
Yes.
just said something. I'm sorry, I got chills. I need to speak this. She said, "You will never go back ever." And so after I just said that, but I want to share the whole never going back energy. No matter what happens in this physical world, we are never going back because consciousness has rose. We have risen in our consciousness. We know who we are, and no one can touch that or take it.
Yeah.
And I feel complete.
That is so powerful. Now more than ever.
Now
Yeah.
more than
Now more
that
than
is for now. That is for now.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because the story is being written. You can
Mhm.
decide whether or not you want to pick up your own pen
Yes.
or allow somebody else to
Yes.
continue to write it for you.
Yes.
We take back our power. That's what this show
Definitely.
is about.
Yes.
Honoring women who have made it through or are continuing through their journey and are very vocal about the now and what it is to overcome to that point in their life, whatever the conversation is, whatever the topic is. That is why this show exists.
Mhm.
Create space for women to celebrate their amazing, to acknowledge it and own it, and to never give it back. It was established at birth, and many of us spend far too many years not recognizing what was our birthright. And
Mhm.
when we take it, when we discover it, we take it back and we own it, the execution of who you are is so powerful. It is undeniable.
Undeniable.
And there's not a room that you will not walk in that it will not be recognized. Crystal, always thank you for creating spaces. Your obedience continues to elevate these conversations. Trusting God's purpose for your life that allows us to lift up and not tear down
Mhm.
is truly to be honored. I'm so very grateful to be able to take this ride with you, to be around such amazing women like Catrice that we get to grow and learn from and understand that dope is in abundance.
Ooh, I love that.
Women. It is absolute in abundance. So I thank you
Thank
for
you.
who you are and for continuing to own your amazing in all of the spaces. Catrice, one more time. You have done the doggone thing. You continue to make us remember the importance of being and owning who we are. It's
Mhm.
always amazing to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you. It's such an honor. I feel so warm and lit up right now. Thank you for this sacred space, sacred activated space. Honor to both of you. It's the dream come true to be here with Black women that's doing this work, that's on this path, and is so benevolent a spirit. Thank you.
There's nothing left for me to say other than I am Crystal L. Gunn. I am a Black woman and I own my amazing. Michelle.
Yes. So I'm going to ride Stephanie Anderson, who in the chat. I'm going to ride hers on the way out. And now we rise.
And now we rise.
My name is Michelle Harper, and I'm a Black woman without apology. I own my amazing. Catrice.
Yes. Oh, I forgot about it. What is that so much?
I'm in the moment. I'm not mad at that.
I'm just being. My name is Catrice Renee Goddard, and I own my amazing. I'm a Black woman, and I own my amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for everybody who tuned in today. Thank you. We appreciate you. To the newcomers, I hope you got something that will make you want to show up again next Sunday, where we will have another dope and incredible conversation. We love you. We appreciate your support. and look forward to seeing you week after week as we bring conversations to unite and inspire Black women to own, honor, and execute their amazing or our amazing individually and collectively as it was established at birth. We'll see you next Sunday. Peace.
Thank you.